The allure of Atlantis, a legend woven into the fabric of history and fantasy, persists as an enduring enigma. Its origins trace back to Plato, whose vivid descriptions ignited imaginations and scholarly debates that have spanned over 2 millennia. The concept of a vanished utopia, resplendent and technologically advanced, has been a cornerstone for countless mythologies and speculative theories. Atlantis symbolizes the human quest for a lost perfection, an archetype of civilizations that reached pinnacles of glory only to be erased by their hubris and cataclysmic events. Despite its origins in the dialogues of an ancient philosopher, the idea of Atlantis has transcended its literary roots to become a cultural touchstone that resonates with the deep-seated human need to explore the unknown. As modern science seeks to unearth forgotten histories beneath our oceans, the question arises anew: could there be a real historical precedent for this mythical city, or is it merely a fable, a cautionary tale of morality and the ephemeral nature of human achievement? Plato's narrative places Atlantis beyond the Pillars of Hercules, in a realm that purportedly sank into the ocean's abysses in a single day and night of misfortune. Yet, it is the tantalizing details, a powerful kingdom, advanced beyond its time, and a cataclysmic downfall that have spurred explorers and historians to seek tangible evidence. The Atlantis story's persistence over ages, embellished with tales of mystical powers and prehistoric wisdom, has kept the legend at the forefront of mythological study. It beckons as a siren call to adventurers, researchers, and dreamers alike, compelling a search that bridges the divide between historical possibility and the realms of imagination. In this exploration, we shall sift through the layers of storytelling and conjecture to uncover whether Atlantis could be a repository of ancient truth or if it remains a captivating myth, a symbolic narrative with lessons about the rise and fall of great societies. The original tale. The tale of Atlantis begins with its earliest known proponent, the ancient Athenian philosopher Plato. Around 360 BCE, in his dialogues Timaeus and Critias, Plato introduces Atlantis as a mighty naval power. According to these texts, Atlantis was situated on an island larger than Asia Minor and Libya combined, located in the Atlantic Ocean just beyond the Pillars of Hercules, the ancient term for the Straits of Gibraltar. The story recounts how this island nation had conquered much of Western Europe and Africa 9,000 years before Plato's time. Plato's Atlantis was not merely a military force, it was also a pinnacle of civilization. With concentric rings of water and land, the city was said to be a marvel of engineering and architecture. The central island housed a magnificent palace, temples, and a formidable navy. The Atlanteans enjoyed bountiful resources, with abundant flora and fauna, and the capital was adorned with gold, silver, and other precious materials. However, the glory of Atlantis was not to last. Plato describes how the Atlanteans became morally bankrupt, their ethics eroded by wealth and power. In response to their corruption, the gods were said to have sent one terrible night of fire and earthquakes, causing Atlantis to sink into the sea and vanish. This divine retribution theme serves as a moralistic backdrop for Plato's story, emphasizing the Greek philosophical ideals of hubris and the eventual downfall of those who become morally tainted. The specificity with which Plato details the geography and culture of Atlantis has sparked endless speculation. Was this majestic city real, or was it a philosophical parable? The vividness of Plato's account has tantalized historians and archaeologists for centuries, leaving many to ponder whether it was based on an actual civilization known to the ancients through oral tradition or a purely fictional creation crafted by Plato to illustrate his political theories and the dangers of societal decay. Plato's Atlantis narrative serves as a dual purpose, a cautionary tale about the perils of moral degradation and a tantalizing hint at a lost civilization. The debate over Atlantis's existence is fueled by the richness of detail in Plato's descriptions, which has led to a myriad of interpretations and inspired explorations to locate the remnants of what could be the most elusive civilization in human history. Beyond Plato, Atlantis through the ages. The narrative of Atlantis didn't end with Plato's dialogues. Through the ages, the story of this lost civilization has been embellished, reinterpreted, and woven into the fabric of various cultures' folklore. In the centuries following Plato, Atlantis became a fixture in esoteric lore. Neoplatonists considered it a symbol of higher knowledge, often associating it with the mythical land of Hyperborea, another purportedly lost utopia. As Christian thought spread across Europe, Atlantis began to take on allegorical dimensions, sometimes being equated with the Garden of Eden or the biblical flood narrative, suggesting a sort of pre-Adamic hub of human sophistication that was wiped out by divine wrath. During the Renaissance, with the resurgence of interest in classical texts, Atlantis' story experienced a revival. Intellectuals and explorers like Francis Bacon imagined Atlantis as a utopian society in his work New Atlantis, which inspired a philosophical and scientific quest for the perfect society. This rebirth of interest in Atlantis coincided with the Age of Exploration, where European navigators traversed the globe, finding new lands and civilizations that previously had only been the stuff of myth and legend. The New World discoveries led to a surge in speculation that the Americas themselves might be remnants of Atlantis. In the modern era, the advent of theosophy and occult movements in the 19th and 20th centuries brought a new dimension to Atlantis mythology. Figures like Madame Blavatsky and Edgar Cayce provided detailed descriptions of its supposed history and spiritual significance, tying Atlantis to theories of racial memory and past lives. Their depictions, often mystical and outlandish, depicted Atlantis as a place where humanity reached great technological heights and spiritual wisdom before its fall. The 20th century saw Atlantis enter the realm of pseudoscience and popular culture. Sensational books and films have portrayed it as a technologically advanced society with connections to alien visitors or as a lost continent home to mysterious powers. Atlantis has become a staple of fantasy literature, comic books, and video games, often depicted as an underwater realm or a technologically advanced civilization predating known history. Atlantis' story has transcended Plato's initial descriptions, evolving into a symbol of lost wisdom, a metaphor for human hubris, and a benchmark for utopian visions. Its journey through history reflects humanity's enduring love for mystery and the tantalizing possibility of ancient advanced civilizations. From a philosophical tale to a pop culture icon, the legend of Atlantis continues to captivate imaginations, persisting as a canvas onto which we project our greatest hopes, fears, and wonders about the past. Little-known facts and myths. Beyond the widely recognized tales of Atlantis, there lie a myriad of lesser-known facts and myths that continue to intrigue scholars and enthusiasts alike. One obscure fact about Atlantis is its possible connection to the ancient Minoan civilization. Some historians and archaeologists have speculated that the story of Atlantis may have been inspired by the destruction of the Minoan civilization on the island of Crete. The Minoans were an advanced society for their time, and the catastrophic eruption of the Thera volcano around 1600 BC led to a sudden downfall that bears some resemblance to the sudden destruction of Atlantis as described by Plato. Another seldom discussed myth is that of Atlantean crystals. Some esoteric teachings suggest that the Atlanteans harnessed the power of crystals to power their cities, heal sickness, and even store knowledge. These claims have no historical basis but are popular in metaphysical circles. A little-known fact is the existence of the Ricket structure, also known as the Eye of the Sahara, in Mauritania. This geological formation's concentric circles have led some to speculate that it could be the location of Atlantis, as it closely matches Plato's descriptions. While most scientists regard this as a natural formation, it has not stopped theories that it could be the eroded remains of the once great city. The myth of Atlantean gigantism is another fascinating yet unsupported claim. It's said that the inhabitants of Atlantis were giants, a common theme in many ancient mythologies. While there is no archaeological evidence to support this, the idea likely stems from the Greek tradition of attributing great size and strength to legendary figures and demigods. A less-known aspect of Atlantis is its supposed survival in folklore around the world. Many cultures have stories of a lost civilization or city that seem to echo the tale of Atlantis, from the Indian subcontinent's Dvarka, submerged city associated with Lord Krishna, to the legend of Ys in Brittany, which was said to have been swallowed by the ocean as a punishment for its inhabitants' sins. Finally, one of the most intriguing and rarely discussed theories is the supposed Atlantean influence on other ancient civilizations. Some alternative history enthusiasts believe that Atlanteans may have been responsible for teaching advanced agricultural techniques, astronomy, and architecture to ancient societies like Egypt and the Maya, long before such knowledge would traditionally be thought to have developed. Geological evidence? The search for Atlantis has often turned to geology for clues, with proponents and skeptics alike debating the existence of physical evidence that could support the legend's veracity. One area of interest is the geological phenomena that could explain Atlantis's supposed submersion. Submarine landslides, massive volcanic eruptions, and earthquakes have all been posited as potential real-world events that could correlate with the sudden destruction of a landmass described by Plato. The island of Santorini in the Aegean Sea, for example, experienced a massive volcanic eruption around 1600 BCE, leading to the theory that this could be the basis for the Atlantis story. Another intriguing geological clue is the presence of submerged structures found off the coasts of various countries. Underwater archaeology has discovered many such structures, some natural, others man-made. While these discoveries often lead to a surge in speculation about Atlantis, they typically date to periods long after Plato's time or are otherwise inconsistent with his detailed description of the Atlantean civilization. Submerged megalithic structures, particularly those found near the coasts of Japan and India, are sometimes pointed to as evidence. The Yanaguni Monument near Japan is a particularly contentious site, with some believing it to be the remnants of an ancient civilization, while most scientists argue for its natural origin. Sediment samples from ocean floors have also been analyzed to determine if there was any large-scale flooding that could corroborate the sudden inundation of a landmass akin to Atlantis. These studies have provided a rich understanding of Earth's climatic past, but have yet to offer concrete evidence linking to the legend of Atlantis. In the realm of myth versus reality, the geological evidence for Atlantis remains elusive. Theories often crumble under scientific scrutiny, yet the allure of a hidden truth beneath the waves keeps the legend alive in the public imagination. The absence of definitive geological proof leaves the story of Atlantis open to interpretation, inspiring continued debate and exploration. A grain of truth? The quest to distinguish fact from fiction in the tale of Atlantis often leads to the question, is there a grain of truth in Plato's narrative? Historians and archaeologists have scrutinized the philosopher's works to discern any historical events that might have inspired the allegory. Plato's accounts, detailed in the dialogues Timaeus and Critias, are rich in specifics, such as the precise measurements of the Atlantean capital and the description of its concentric circles of land and water. Some suggest that these details could have been influenced by ancient civilizations known for their impressive city planning and water management, such as the Minoans on Crete. The Minoan civilization experienced a catastrophic end, possibly due to a volcanic eruption, which could have been passed down through oral histories and embellished into the story of Atlantis. Moreover, Plato's moral and philosophical themes in the Atlantis narrative suggest that it may have been intended as a cautionary tale about the hubris of civilizations, a message that would resonate with actual historical collapses due to overreach or natural disasters. The grain of truth may also lie in the lesser-known historical and geological events of Plato's time. Some have hypothesized that the story of Atlantis was based on distant memories of real locations that suffered destruction, such as the Black Sea deluge hypothesis, which posits that a significant flooding event occurred around 5600 BCE, potentially imprinting on the collective memory of early agrarian societies. Others point to the Rikat structure, a prominent circular feature in the Sahara Desert of Mauritania, as a potential inspiration for Atlantis. Visible from space and bearing a resemblance to Plato's description, this geological formation has sparked theories about its connection to the myth, although there is no evidence of an advanced civilization having lived there. In essence, the grain of truth in the Atlantis story is likely a composite of various historical, philosophical, and geological elements that Plato may have woven into a narrative intended more to convey moral truths than to record historical facts. This approach to the myth does not attempt to prove the existence of Atlantis as a real city but rather to understand how and why such stories persist through centuries, often gaining more layers and interpretations as they are retold. The story of Atlantis, as penned by Plato, has transcended its origins to become an enduring enigma that continues to captivate the imagination of the world. It has evolved from a philosophical allegory into a symbol of the ultimate lost civilization, a cautionary tale of pride and punishment, and a benchmark for societal perfection. Our fascination with Atlantis reflects our deeper yearning for exploration and understanding of our past. The myth persists because it represents more than just a sunken city. It is an archetype embedded in human consciousness, symbolizing lost wisdom, vanished glory, and the hope of rediscovery. The numerous attempts to locate the physical remains of Atlantis are as much about our search for a tangible connection to this story as they are about understanding the limits of human achievement and folly. The enduring enigma of Atlantis also serves as a mirror for contemporary society's concerns. It echoes the warnings against unchecked ambition and environmental disregard, reminding us of the potential consequences of disrespecting nature's power. The legend invites us to ponder the transience of even the most advanced societies and challenges us to consider our legacy and the mark we wish to leave on the world. In the end, whether Atlantis ever existed as a real place matters less than what it has come to represent. Its story has been retold and reimagined through countless cultures and eras, each adding their interpretation to the myth. Atlantis survives not because it was real, but because it has become a profound metaphor for human endeavor, aspiration, and the eternal quest for meaning. As we continue to question and explore, the legend of Atlantis serves as a beacon, a reminder that there are always more mysteries to uncover and more stories to tell. The search for Atlantis is not just about uncovering the past, it is about enriching our present and inspiring our future. The legend endures not as a definitive historical account, but as a narrative that challenges us to dream and to seek the unknown, no matter how elusive it may be.